Okay guys, we've got a bunch of products here at First Man. We've got our men's lifestyle supplement, which is everything that a man needs on a daily basis. We've got our natural diuretic supplement, Defined, which allows you to get an angular face, removes all the water, especially good for summer. We've got our Male Advantage book, which is a paperback. You can order this, or you can get this in audiobook format or ebook format. We've got our Better Looking Man course, which I'll bring up pictures on screen now. And we've got my personal diet plan and fitness plan in ebook format. On top of this, guys, we've got a body wash coming out soon, part of the testosterone friendly range. We've got men's boxers and a whole clothing line coming out soon. A whole bunch of products, but for now, let's get back to the video that you actually wanted to watch. Okay guys, welcome back to another video. It's so good to be back on camera. I obviously went and got the SMP done, and you're not allowed to shower for like 5 days or whatnot, or like not shower your head for 5 days. You have to let it all like grow out and whatever, so I've just been wearing like a hat and whatnot. Can't go to the gym. It's been baking hot. It's been like 30 odd degrees, which for some of you might not be that warm. In the UK with that aircon, it's so warm. So I've had to like buy a fan and stuff like that, and loads of different stuff to just kind of get back to making videos, you know. And I've been real busy as well with the podcast, so things have been crazy. I did actually record some content yesterday, but after listening back to it, that like fuzz that was in the background, that little buzzing noise, that white noise that people were picking up on, I thought it was just a window being open in the other room, but I couldn't actually hear it through my speakers, and I put headphones on. And then I could hear it, okay? So it wasn't in editing the whole time. And it was really weird, but I think I fixed it now. I think I figured out what it was. I put my settings on this XLR unit, just the audio interface, if you would. I put it back to what it was before when I was in the garage. And I think it seems to have done the job. So the topic of discussion, guys, for this video is that the straight 7 system trumps genetics. Now, for those of you who don't know what the straight 7 system is, I need an editor for moments like that, don't I? For like to bring up something stupid on screen like most people do. But yeah, the straight 7 system, for those of you who aren't aware, who haven't really seen it before, because the first time I ever made a video on it, I swear I had like 8,000 subscribers, so it never really, you know, got the kind of publicity it was due. So I probably should just re-release a video on it at some point, but I'll just brush over it quickly. The straight 7 system basically works on one single concept, which is if you're ranked at a 10 in any category, if you can be a 7, you know, which is, for example, if I've got to do some explaining here. I've told you before that the average guy is like a 3.4 out of 10. And people are like, how is that possible? Surely average is a 5. Look, on one criteria, on one pillar, 5 has to be the average because it's in the middle. That's the only way to rank it. But here's the thing, most guys aren't well-rounded. So the average guy might be, I think there's a bit of an echo here with that door open. I might have to close it. I might have to open it in a minute. Got my lines mixed there. But the pit, like for example, with the pillar, you go for 5, that has to be the average, okay? But with guys having strengths and weaknesses across the board, you think over like 20, 30, 40 categories, you might be a 5 in like 10 things, and then you might be a 3, you might be a 9, you might be a 2, you might be a 1. Most guys are terrible at this and this and this. By the time you add it all up, the average is like 3.4. Okay, so that's what I determined it on. So to explain the straight 7 system on a singular scale, because that's how we're going to judge everything here, and then collectively at the end, a 5 is obviously average, so a 6 is above average, and a 7 has to be well above average. And that's what I've always based it on. And let's put this into context, okay? If we were to explain this, if you were to say, how tall is he? Oh, he's well above average. You'd think, oh, well, fuck, if the average is like 5'10", and he's not above average, he's well above average, he must be like 6'2", 6'3". Do you see what I mean? Like in terms of that concept, it's like, oh shit, that guy is actually really tall. Well, that would work in every other category as well. He's well above average in terms of his dress sense. He's well above average in terms of his looks. His body, he goes to the gym, whatever, his body is well above average. You know, his wealth is well above average. And if average is like 30, 40,000 per year, in between that, above average would be like 50, 60, well above would be like 70, 80, 90k, 100k per year. Do you see what I mean? Like, well above average is like really fucking good in whatever category you're basing it on. So in the straight 7 system it's kind of based on a concept I call the outlier male, which you guys know from the book and stuff like that. And the way I look at it is you can have a guy, and here's how we get onto this topic now of how the straight 7 system trumps genetics, is you could have a guy who is 6'4", ridiculously handsome, has a giant penis and is genetically blessed, but he's broke, he's stupid, he's arrogant, he's narcissistic because his life's always been built that way. And look, number one, he's going to get all the female attention. Of course he is. Like, who's going to not want him based on just seeing him? That guy's so attractive. But as soon as they have a date with him, like, this guy's an idiot. There's no future with this guy. He's a moron. He's just, like, the older he gets, the worse his life gets, basically. Like, he's not going to have enough money to have, like, a decent car, a decent house, to look after children, to, you know, look after a woman, whatnot. He's probably gonna have a lot of sex, right? It's just like, oh, the handsome idiot, let's just fucking whatever. Like, a few girls are gonna do that. But in kind of adult life, and one thing I'm not saying here is to let the chads, as people say, sleep with all the girls and then you pick them up later on in life. I'm not saying that, right? Because not all women are the same. I know 21-year-old women that are really mature mentally. They think like 35-year-old women. Okay, so all women are different, all women have different types. But the guys who come out on top, I would say like if you had, for example, if you had like beta males, you had like sigmas, alphas, like people go up through the things, right, throughout the categories, I'd say the outlier male sits on top. Because I would say he's the most versatile. He's the one that can adapt to the most situations. And you could be a guy who's like 5'7", pretty skinny, hasn't really been blessed with like a big frame, like massive hands, quite a pubescent voice or something like that. But as long as you've gotten, let's say for example, if you go in the gym, you work on yourself relentlessly and you get that up to a 7, you do like orthotropics, some mental exercises, natural diuretics, take care of your skin, your hygiene, keep yourself well groomed and whatnot, keep yourself looking pretty young, you know, and you get that to at least a 7, which is just well above average. I don't think it's that hard to do if the average guy on the street isn't really putting in any effort. Do you see what I mean? You just got to go above that a little bit from a bit of effort and then well above average. It's not going to take that long. It's probably going to be like 3 years of being serious about that shit, okay, in terms of like improving your looks. Now, in terms of wealth, that might take a little bit longer. To go well above average might take 5, 6, 7 years of hard work, whatever, but there's almost like an exponential effect with wealth. It's like the more you earn, the more you can make. It just doesn't stop as long as you stay focused. So, you know, in my opinion, any guy can improve all those areas, and they're like the main ones. And then on top of that, like, they're not as effective, but you can do things like dress sense. You can do things like there's a difference between being in shape and being conditioned, in my opinion. Like, for example, I'm in shape right now, but I don't feel conditioned. I feel as though if I went for like 1 or 2 runs per week, went and did some sprint training, some circuits, whatever, like actually sweat some shit out, you get this like conditioned look where you just look really toned around like the cheekbones and jawline, etc. Which now that I'm probably going to move into maintenance, because I just feel as though getting any leaner is just kind of silly at this point. I just feel as though I'm just forcing it, just beyond belief. It's like, what am I doing? So I'll probably go into maintenance and start doing a little bit more cardio and just like trade the two off against each other for like health purposes. I think that'd be pretty good, because I'm feeling good now. I've got my energy back, I've slept a lot, I've rested. The SMP allowed me to take like a week off, so, you know, in a break in London, that was really healthy for me. So I kind of want to do that now, you know. And if a guy can, you know, do little things, for example, his hygiene, just be like, I don't have a high quality aftershave, goes and buys one. You know, increases his testosterone to well above average. Just little steps that you can make, you know, little things that you can change and whatnot. And if you do that across the board and you are a straight 7, okay, in as many areas as you can, who can compete with that? I was talking to somebody the other day and I was saying, she's a gorgeous woman as well. So this is like the type of women that you guys are going after. So like it's coming from the horse's mouth. And she said like a guy who is across the boards, who's strong across the boards, is so much more dangerous than a guy who's just great in like one or two areas. You know, she was like, like you meet a guy, he's really handsome, he's in shape, or whatever. You sit down, you go for a meal, and the conversation is just dead. Like there's something, do you know what I mean? It's just like, God, he's a fucking idiot. And she was like, he's so disappointing. Or you meet like a guy who's in shape, handsome, massive dick, the sex is great, and then you find out he's broke. Okay, and he just can't afford anything. You just can't see a future with this guy, can't move it forward. She was like, so if you meet a guy who's like, I find him good looking, he's in really good shape, oh, and he does really well for himself, he's got a great job, oh, he's got a nice house, a nice car, okay, we had a conversation, he's like, you know, he's really great to talk to, we had a really good time, he's funny, he's like a 7 out of 10 in terms of humour. Like, you wouldn't say that on that scale, do you know what I mean? But like, his dress sense is like a 7 out of 10. Like, a woman wouldn't say that. She'd just say, he dresses well, he dresses quite nice. To have that collectively across the board, like I said, it's coming from the horse's mouth, a beautiful woman. She was like, there's such a weapon to find a guy that can do everything at once. She's like, it's so rare. And that's the thing. You can find a genetically jacked guy. You can find guys that have like taken some steroids or whatever and they look big and masculine. You can find a guy who's 6'5" with a massive dick. Okay, it's not hard to do these sort of things, like they are out there genetically, but it's very hard to find a guy who is well above average, if not into excellent, because I think once you get to a 7, it's quite easy to get into an 8 category. 9, 10, whatever might be difficult, but I think making that jump from a 7 to an 8 just requires a little bit more focus, a little bit more discipline. You know, just let's say you start making like 10 grand per month, okay, and you're like a 7 in terms of earnings. Just to put that little bit of extra effort in to just double that to 20k per month. Like that, I just think it's so plausible for so many guys to do, to just double that, to just like really step up as an outlier in terms of wealth. Or you go to the gym and you're a 7 out of 10 in terms of your body. In order to just step that up to an 8, it's probably just diet. It's probably just cutting out alcohol completely. Like it's always one extra thing, or going to bed an hour earlier. You know, upping your testosterone by using natural products. For example, my body wash just coming out soon. Seems like a promo, seems like an ad, but I'm so passionate about it because it's testosterone friendly. It's coming out very soon. You know, just using little products like that. My men's lifestyle supplement. I'm trying to think of the name then. Like I said, going to bed early, not using fluoride toothpaste, you know, little things like this, that could be it to take you from a 7 to an 8. It's just like that, a little bit of extra hard work that would be required. And if you were straight 7 across the board, and then you said, okay, and I'm doing a video on this soon, the kind of aggregation of marginal gains visualized. I've actually made a chart of like the most effective things you can do at what age you can do them as well. So like what has the best effect? Because I see a lot of guys out there like, oh, just learn a language, learn to cook, like learn a few things about art and whatever, and women will find you really attractive. And it's like, well, like, yeah, those things help, but they're minor, okay? So it's like, what are the major things? What are the big hitters that move you forward? And if you're straight 7 across the board in as many areas as you could do with the time that you had, I then think if you want to push anything to an 8 or above or whatever, wealth, fitness, you know, as in gym, like just those two. I just think they're the easiest two. You know, your face might be held back by genetics or whatever it might be. You might be too old where your bones are fused, or it might take 10 years to like really evolve your face through orthotropics. But I think the two that you can really kick on that have the greatest effect, I think, are wealth and fitness, because, you know, fitness ties into everything else, because obviously you feel good, you look good, testosterone's higher, sex is better, you look better. You look better in clothes, and then wealth does the same thing. Wealth can allow you to buy better clothes, to buy better assets, to have a better life setup, to be fresher, because you can have a cook, a chef. So you can have a chef, a cleaner, you can have a PA. Do you know what I mean? People working for you, so then you've got way more time, so you can sleep that extra hour and still be as productive and whatnot. Take regular breaks, go on holiday, whatnot. You're not stressed, you know, that sort of thing. So the way I look at it, And this should be music to all of your ears, guys, out there, because there's so many guys who, you know, especially when you're from a culture or a race where height isn't really on your side, that should be music to your ears, because the straight 7 system does trump genetics. Whatever you've been given will give you a massive head start. And I will side with you here. If you're 18 and you're saying to me, hey, yeah, but Chris, I'm 18 and all the girls like the tall, handsome guys and whatever. It's like, yeah, of course they do. Of course, like, what do you expect? Like, an 18-year-old girl is just a baby. Like, before I was like 25, I was just a clown. I didn't really know what was going on in life. I was trying to figure everything out. By the time I got to like 25, I started to figure a few things out. But it was more like 27, 28, probably 28 before I like really got my head around what was going on in life. And only now at 29, coming up 30 at the end of August, it's just like, now I just feel as though I've finally gone, oh, click, like some things have clicked into place. So you can't expect like a 18-year-old woman to sit there and be like, but actually, like, there are girls out there like that, but you can't expect her to be like, actually, in 10 years time, I probably won't look the way I look now. I better go and get a guy. Like, their brains just don't work like that. Neither did ours. We were like, she's the hottest girl, I like her. It's just different as you grow up, okay? And if you think like being the tall, handsome, in-shape Chad is like fantastic, try paying your bills when you get to like 35, when you're broke. You know, you'll attract women, but try keeping them when you're broke. It's just not going to work, okay? Try and like have a meaningful conversation, or anybody to take you seriously when you're a blumbering idiot, when you can't string a sentence together, when you're not articulate, when you don't know how the next penny's going to be coming in, when you can't sit there, visualize and strategize what's going to come in next and make daily plans. And, you know, your whole thing is just go out with the boys, wear a backwards cap, hey, I'm tall and I drink a lot of beers. Like, I promise you that comes to an end. It comes to a grinding halt quickly, okay? And every year that you get past like 23, it just means less and less and less and less, okay? And that's why I say the straight 7 system trumps everything. If you're a man and you want to have a happy life, you want to be fucking like feeling like you're part of society, you're able to attract a beautiful woman, start a family, you know, because as you get older, this sort of stuff matters so much, to feel like that sense of belonging and have a purpose and whatever. And we've all seen it in the movies, usually these American movies, where there's a guy who's like late 30s, early 40s, and he's successful. He's going to work every day wearing a nice suit. He's got a nice car. He's got a beautiful family, beautiful wife, beautiful kids, big house, whatever. They're going on holiday. He's paying for things. He's like, he could be like 5'8", 5'9", but he's like in shape. He's at the gym. He's working on himself. It's just like a straight 7/8 across the board. Like straight 7 across the board with 1 or 2 things are like an 8, you know, and stuff like that. And you see those guys on TV and it's just like, they're at the top of the tree for me. They're at the top of the pecking order. If I saw a guy who was like 5'8", who was making 10 grand per month, okay, had a prestigious job where he had some status, which matters, some clout, some good connections in his industry where he's got a good friendship group. He's got a beautiful wife, beautiful kids, really nice house, whatever, nice car, and everything's at like a 7 limit, okay? So he's got like an Audi, he's got like a 3-bedroom detached house or something like that. Articulate guy, dresses really well, always in suits, you know, handles everything for his family, takes care of everything, plans family trips, has a holiday home, which is nothing special to write home about, 250k house in like Spain or something like that. And, you know, he's got other plans to maybe like push forward and start his own business or whatever, or he's got an investment portfolio. That guy, compared to, and let's say also like goes to the gym and he's kind of like one of those 40-year-old guys that is like, fuck, you're in really good shape for 40. That guy compared to some like 21-year-old tall, in shape, handsome guy who's just naturally genetically blessed, it's not even a contest. Do you know what I mean? For one night, yeah, that other guy is quite fun in terms of like what a woman wants, or in terms of like I'm big on respect from other men. I think having respect from other men is as important as getting female attention. And I think I think it's just really nice to, like, for example, if you're the guy who's 21, you're handsome, tall, whatever, yeah, you're one of the boys, whatnot. The rest of society, people are like, I don't care. Okay, here's an example. I was going down to get my car on the train, and I heard the conductor behind me, or the guy, the ticket guy, he was talking to some young kid, okay? Like, tall, handsome young kid. And he just said to me, he was just like, if you don't have a ticket, you have to get off at the next stop. He was like, it's a criminal offence. And he was treating him like shit, okay? And this kid was just like, he was from London, he had that kind of accent, like, but yeah, fam, but I don't know, innit? I just don't know, innit, fam? It just couldn't string a sentence together. And this guy was treating him like shit and made him get off at the next stop. I was thinking, oh, for fuck's sake, is me next? So he comes up to me and I was like, look, I'm so sorry, I didn't know the rules. I just got on the train, I assumed I'd be able to buy a ticket on here. Like, happy to pay a penalty fine if need be, because I need to get to the place that I'm trying to get to. Again, apologies, I didn't know. He was like, absolutely not, sir, that's not a problem at all. Don't worry about it. If I can get you a ticket, what would you like? Is it single? Is it return? And it's just like, because I look like I'm 30 or whatever around that bracket, and I was dressed well and I spoke articulately, it was just a different level. Do you know what I mean? Oh, this guy's about my age. He's, he looks like a man. He's that sort of, and people just treat you with much more respect as a man. Like, life gets easier in that sense. And I think having that respect off men, as well as being able to attract women, I think that's just as important. And that is why, the straight 7 system doesn't just apply to how many women can you fuck, how many women can you attract, what's the level of woman, whatever. It's your ability to, like, fit in with society, which is massively important. Like, nobody wants to be lonely. Nobody wants to be an outcast. Do you know what I mean? A lot of guys visualize themselves as a working professional in a suit in the middle of the city, going for drinks with friends, being part of a social group, having a great life, beautiful woman, kids, whatnot, and feeling like they belong and they're part of something, and, they're holding things together. They've got that masculine role. Like, that is what the straight 7 system will give you. It's not just you're a 7 out of 10 collectively. Like, a 7 out of 10 collectively makes you like a 9 or a 10, okay? If you're a 7 across the board in multiple areas, then you're like a 9 or a 10. You just have to be, okay? You just have to be, because it's just like your rarity more than anything. That's what it would be. I know 7 plus 7 plus 7 plus 7 divided by how many would end up being 7. I know that, right? But, like, it just works differently. It just works differently in terms of, like, attraction, because you're not just comparing yourself, you're then comparing yourself with other people. So if you're a 7 collectively across the board, that then bumps you up higher because other people don't have those traits. Do you see what I mean? It's more like a collective ranking system. It's like, okay, you're really strong across the board, which makes you then invaluable, so that puts you at the top. Do you know what I mean, guys? But like I said before, I've never really explained this component of the straight 7 system. But just feeling good about yourself, just having stuff in life, just feeling like you belong, like you fulfill that masculine role. You're a provider for your family. Your woman respects you because you're great at multiple things. You've never let her down. You're great in multiple areas, She feels lucky to have you. Like, you've got holiday homes, you're taking trips with the family. Like, people respect you when you go up to, like, tills, to kiosks, when you're at the airport, they respect you. And okay, so, that sort of thing. When you go into expensive stores, somebody's like, yeah, he looks wealthy, and they treat you with respect, rather than some young kid comes in and they're like, he's going to steal something because he's wearing a hoodie and a cap. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's just something to be said for that straight 7 system, and just being a well-rounded man that other men, as well as beautiful women, but other men look at and they go, he's somebody I'd want to be. He's somebody who I respect. He's a threat. That's the big thing. He's a threat. He's competition. Wow, he's well-rounded. Like, that guy's got some traits. It's great. Do you know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't really see, like, some 6'4", muscular, handsome guy as much as a threat if he was broke and stupid. I'd be like, well, where's that going to lead? Do you know what I mean? He hasn't even got the social skills to, like, work his way in there. And then if he does, it's like, how's he going to back that up? Like, I wouldn't really see those guys as a threat. But I would see a guy who's a straight 7 across the board, 35 years old, got his shit sorted, got a decent life, hosts, like, meetings every single morning with his team. It's like, fuck, that guy knows how to talk to people. He knows how to host an event or whatever. Like, that's a dangerous guy. He's got a lot of traits across the board. And for you guys out there who are struggling right now, who are like, I'm not tall, I'm not whatever, just, I promise you, just please focus on the straight 7 system. Now, the 2 main ones, like I said, wealth and fitness. I did that for like 9 years. Just get in shape, make money. Those two are like catalysts, they're like foundations of the rest of the other components on that list. What, you want to dress well? Oh, well, you're rich, there we go. Okay, like you can go and buy whatever clothes you want. Oh, those clothes don't look good on you, get in shape, now they look amazing. Like, you see what I mean, guys? And that works for a lot of the categories across the board. But they're the two. Go and tick those two and then become well-rounded as a man. Go and like, for example, I'm in a position now where I've got products to focus on, I've got to push them forward, I'm trying to double my wealth, if not triple it over the next like 3.5 months or so. I'm really going to put myself in a great position for winter. But then when winter comes along, I wouldn't mind like moving back to London, getting some assets and whatnot, but I'm going to focus on things like, I take some like cooking classes. I'm going to do stuff like hire a yoga teacher to come in like once or twice per week and like do stretches with me. I'm going to hire maybe like a chef and stuff like that. I'm probably, just all these different components. Like I'm going to get a language teacher. I want to learn Spanish fluently because I'm like, I'm competent with it. Do you know what I mean? Like when my dad lived there for like 8 years, I've got a background in it. I studied it a little bit. I think I could pick it up quickly and within like 2 years be pretty much fluent. So, that's what I mean is like I'm bridging out now. I did fitness, I did success, I increased like my looks probably to at least a 7, okay, compared to where I was before where I thought I was a 2. So it's like I've ticked those 3 main boxes. Let's become more well-rounded. Let's become that outlier male that just has like multiple areas where he's just like, he's intelligent, he can speak 3 languages, he's just like Mr. Culture. But then you're not just some like hippie weirdo who travels a lot. Like, oh, he just travels around and he knows a lot about the world. He's an interesting guy. So he's broke. He's got no house. He lives in a shed. Like, he lives in a camper van. I think there's a balance. I think you just need to have that straight 7 across the board. Okay, guys. So to wrap it up for you guys out there who are struggling, who are looking like, where's my life going? I'm not at the top of that tree. Just start focusing on the straight 7 system. Just become the most well-rounded man out there. I guarantee, give it time, things will pay off. Okay, people notice, men notice, women notice. It will pay off.